And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it?
It goes great, Rich. I actually went out to dinner with some friends of ours, me and my wife, for I think the first time in I can't remember when last night. So anticipating, more here in California. I think June 15th is when the governor said they're relaxing all protocols. I mean, I feel confident. My whole family's vaccinated up and all that. So I'm looking forward to being able to step out and do stuff outside the house, for the first time in a while, like the before 4 times.
Very, very nice. I'm assuming this meal you had was indoors.
It was indoors. Did a small French restaurant in Riverside. Met a client of mine who was spending some vacation time in Palm Springs. We met halfway and had a meal. It was a very small place, maybe 12 tables, very intimate, if you will. But yeah, it was indoors, mask on to get in. But once you're there, mask off to enjoy the meal.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm getting out and about a little bit more too. Shameless plug alert to the audience right here. Next week, I'm going to be in Dallas for the ChannelPro SMB Forum event that we're going to be doing there. I won't spend a lot of time belaboring that, but we are going to have both an in-person audience with us in Dallas. We'll also be streaming the event live if you would prefer to attend virtually. If you want to know more about what's on the agenda, you want to sign up and get in because there is room to get in, events.channelpronetwork.com, and we've got all the details for you right there. But with that, Eric, let us dive into our top story this week, and it concerns a first product from a brand new vendor. A company called Gradient MSP. So obviously that name is going to be unfamiliar to folks in our audience right now. This name, or names actually, might be a little bit more familiar. The founder and CEO of Gradient MSP is Colin Knox. Colin Knox, in addition to being a former MSP himself, was the CEO of Passportal, the password management and documentation vendor, acquired by SolarWinds. For a while after that acquisition, Colin was at SolarWinds as their VP of community. Last year he left, he founded Gradient MSP, and we have been waiting to see, I've been waiting to see exactly what the Gradient MSP mission and portfolio is going to be about. And we got our first glimpse of that this week. The first product from Gradient MSP is what they are calling a data hygiene system. And so the idea is if you've got a PSA system, there's probably a lot of bad data, or what they call dirty data in there right now, meaning it's outdated, it's incomplete, it's inaccurate. It's getting in the way. It's maybe, skewing your decision making for reporting purposes and so on, but it's a real pain in the neck to get into those records and clean that all up. And so that's what this tool does. It will go looking around through the PSA for you, look for situations where there may be dirty data there for you, alert you to them, and tell you how to fix it, assist you with fixing it where it can. Now, this system is free of charge for anyone to use. It's going to stay free of charge going forward. And that's because really this is just kind of a toe in the water for Gradient. They have a much bigger, more ambitious vision that they are headed towards. And there are going to be future products coming that will help them pursue that. And the idea basically is to create what they are calling a data intelligence platform. And so the idea will be, over time, and in particular, they'll be doing this through the data hygiene system, right, where they're going to be getting information from PSA systems. They're going to be building a pool of anonymous information from MSPs about their business and their customers. And they believe this is going to give them the opportunity not only to help MSPs sort of benchmark themselves against other MSPs in the industry, but also to get automated, proactive tips and advice from Gradient about steps they can take, changes they can implement to improve the profitability and the efficiency of their business. So that the Gradient platform will be comparing their data to industry-wide metrics. It'll be, comparing you to other MSPs similar size in a similar part of the country. And if it sees opportunities for you to do something that might help you get into that, top fifth, top fourth in that category, they'll send you an alert and let you know to do that. One of the interesting things about how they position that service is they really sort of see this as leveling the playing field a little bit out there. That we all know there's a lot of merger and acquisition activity happening in the MSP market right now. So you've got these bigger companies that in a lot of cases are run by people, with an MBA, or if they're not, they are allied or owned all or in part by a private equity firm, plenty of MBAs on staff there. So they have access to this kind of business expertise that a smaller MSP might not. And Gradient is hoping to kind of fill that void a little bit by providing that kind of business acumen that somebody, with a technical background running a business might not have on their own. So that's the vision. It's going to be a while. I mean, their next big release is in November. We don't know exactly what's in it, but it's going to take them a little bit closer to that vision. So we'll have to see more specifically how the platform works and what it does and so on. What we have for right now is that down payment on that larger ambition of theirs in this data hygiene system.
Yeah, and hats off to Colin and the team for identifying an opportunity to help MSPs in areas where they do need the most help. I mean, we've got platforms, Rich, for PSA platforms for ticketing and other things and invoicing. We've got accounting platforms. We've got RMM platforms. We've got all of these service delivery focused platforms that, some of them are a little bit Swiss Army knives, like they do a lot of things, but maybe not one or two things super, super well. But one area that is very lacking, and you and I have had many conversations about this, it's dear to me, is giving the MSPs that business intelligence that allows them to make better business growth decisions. So how do I improve in each of my business units? What metrics should I be measuring? And if I need to improve these metrics or modify them in any way, how should I go about that? How do I prioritize making improvements in my organization from and making those decisions from a data-driven perspective? So I think this is going to be well received, and I'm curious to see, what happens in November and what the rest of the roadmap looks like for Gradient.
Yeah, very much still an unfolding story, and I think it's easy enough to understand the need that they're trying to fill. The question will just be, how do they fill it? How effectively do they do that? And then how willing are MSPs to share their data in return for some of that business advice that they'll get from Gradient? That'll be an interesting question as well going forward. But yeah, definitely, it's a brand new company, like I said, and definitely one to keep an eye on. So Eric, let's move on to your tip of the week here. And I think this might actually be a relief to some folks in our audience who aren't particularly confident about or fond of selling.
Yes. So stop selling. That's the tip of the week, everyone. Don't sell anything. In jest, I say that. The point here is I've recently, again, ripped from the headlines. I had a recent conversation with a client and their sales team moving into kind of a sales optimization phase of an engagement. And I asked the team, I said, what's your number one concern about going to market first with your existing clients and then to more of a colder market with this new solution sets that we put together, bundles of cybersecurity offerings. So good, better, best. I do a lot of work that way, helping MSPs come up with these bundling and pricing strategies. And I said, what's your biggest concern in going out and presenting them to your clients? And the majority said their internal fear or concern of having the client say no to the price. And I said, okay, let's talk about that for a second, because if you are selling something to a client, you may get a no based on price, but we don't sell. What we do is we identify a pain or a risk, we develop or deliver a solution, and then we ask the client to budget for that solution. So just by changing our mindset internally, Rich, as to what we are and who we serve, from a I'm not selling you anything, especially when it's a cybersecurity. I went into our conversation at length here, but I'll kind of try to summarize it here. I said, listen, what you're trying to do is help increase your client's security posture and train their users on what to look for so as not to get swept up in some sort of a phishing attempt or anything like that, to mitigate their risk. So really what you're doing is you're trying to help them. So simply look at it that way. And because of the way that you've constructed your bundles, there's something in there for everyone. Even your lowest priced bundle brings them up to your minimum standard of security, which really protects you and them. So you're both at risk here. So simply present it from that perspective. And again, I'm not going to go into the whole conversation, but then simply ask them to allow you to help them. And that's the approach here. So don't sell, don't pitch, ask them to allow you to help them, because the risk is so great on both sides of the fence in this particular cybersecurity sales conversation.
And you're really not trying to gouge anybody. You're not padding the numbers in any way. I mean, the
No.
people who are watching or listening right now are in this because they really do like to assist SMBs with their technology needs. Especially if we're talking about that minimum bundle that you were talking about there, I mean, this is what you need to be secure, to run the business effectively. And this is what it's going to cost. The price is not what's significant about that. It's what that bundle of services and solutions can do, and why you need it, that is significant. And so, yeah, I can totally see that logic, Eric. If you are shifting the attention away from what it costs towards what it does and why you need something that does that, then it's no longer a sales conversation with the customer. It's more like a dare we say, trusted advisor conversation about using technology to run the business successfully.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Rich. And like I said, there are a lot of layers to that conversation, but essentially it's about you caring about your clients and caring about them surviving a hack. I was looking at statistics sharing with them today, is 60% of small and medium businesses that are ransomed go out of business, right? So you certainly are expressing your genuine concern for your clients, and also the risk that they're putting you under as well, because if they don't take these preventative measures, which will be far, far less costly than emergency response after a ransom, then you're asking the MSP to then come in and drop everything they're doing, come to the rescue, and then the billing for that could be just untenable, especially if you don't have cyber liability insurance that you can file claims against and are being kept up to the minimum requirements of the policy. I mean, we could go on, but you get the idea. It's one of these things where what got us here won't get us there. And we have to enforce this now with our existing clients we want to make sure that you are protected. And I go as far as to say, Rich, that give your clients a date by which they all have to agree to some of your security services, a minimum amount at a minimum to continue to be your client, because they're just going to create more and more risk for themselves and more risk for you. And by extension, I would say more risk for your other clients when you're just having to deal with their issue at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, Eric. And it leaves us time for just one more story this week. Now, you're talking about not selling anything in a sense. What about not buying anything, or buying nothing, to put it differently? This story comes to us from Italy, where an artist named Salvatore Garau recently sold the world's first invisible sculpture for 15,000 euros. This was, I guess, in an auction. The winning bid was 15,000 euros for a 4.9 foot cube containing nothing. Well, except it's containing an invisible sculpture. I don't know, there's some sort of emperor has no clothes kind of joke here. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But $15,000 for a box full of nothing. Eric, what do you think? A sound investment?
Yeah, I saw the photo of the glass cube containing the invisible sculpture, and I say to all those folks that were participating in the auction, I have Wonder Woman's invisible plane for sale if anyone is interested.
And 15,000 euros? No, sold. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. We're going to be back again with another one. If you like the show, we are both a video and a podcast. If you are watching the video right now, why not go out and subscribe to the podcast? You'll find us on Apple and Google and Spotify, all the great places you go to get podcasts. You can subscribe to the show there. Go ahead and, if you can, take an extra second or two, give us that coveted 5-star rating so that other people can discover the show a little bit more easily on those platforms. If you're listening to the podcast right now, hey, check us out on video. We're on YouTube. Easiest way to find us is to go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Become a subscriber there. If you click the little bell icon, you'll actually get notified every week when the new episodes go up. You want to read more about Gradient MSP? You want to get all sorts of great information and advice for growing your business? Your destination should be ChannelProNetwork.com, because we have got great new stuff about what's happening in the industry and how to achieve success in IT every single day for you, as does Erick Simpson. And if you want to learn more about him and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericksimpson.com, ERICK Simpson.com. So as I say, we're going to be back again next week with another episode for you. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.